Hey YouTubers, it's Steve again, broadcasting from Rescape. I'm going to change the introduction a little bit. Basically, if this is the first video that you're watching, what my channel is trying to do, or the original intent behind my channel, is that I think far too often people try to change their circumstances by going and doing things and changing their external circumstances. Rescape tries to I'm trying to be a window to people that maybe don't know certain concepts about the world around them and who they are, and basically just to raise the course of human potential, so that when you're in situations that you may think you can't change, and what this channel seeks to do is to change what you believe you're capable of by altering your fundamental perception of reality, and doing that safely. And just watch some of my previous videos, especially the ones at the very beginning. um, in no broad terms, I'm hoping to tell you things that allow you to go out with my words being the seed, then you go find out things that you wouldn't already know that would lead you to a more fuller version of yourself. Because I think most people in society today and just the world in general aren't living to their full potential, and it's not based on your physical capabilities or your intelligence or skill. It's literally, I 100% know it's based on how you view the world around you. And so instead of trying to change all the little details of the world around you to make you feel satisfied with your life, change the way you see things. I know this isn't a new concept, but like it's literally like things that you're just running in the background programs. Anyway, it's just the way you go about doing your life. If you want to change, you have to change the way you see the world. And this channel, rescaping your reality on the most fundamental levels, the more fundamental that you rescape your reality, the more far-reaching the increase of your potential as a human being will be. And I think human beings have potentials far beyond what any of us give ourselves credit for. And so, little by little, this channel is going to be going into that. And hopefully, if you stick around, then you'll reap benefits from that. But anyway, long introduction. So, I guess the reason I made the introduction that way is because today is going to be the first video that I'm doing on Tai Chi. Now, Tai Chi is a martial art. It was created for martial purposes. Today, you'll see it used for health purposes, as in a slow-moving meditative exercise. And it had benefit for those as well, and that's what it's used in China today. You'll see millions of people every morning get up and doing Tai Chi. And just, I'm not going to like tell you everything about Tai Chi. Just go look it up on Wikipedia. But what I'm going to tell you is what real Tai Chi was and still is, if you really do some digging. And that Tai Chi is the supreme ultimate. Basically, if you went to China, a few hundred years ago, and you asked somebody what the best martial arts was, they're not going to tell you Shaolin Kung Fu. They're going to tell you Tai Chi. And I asked my teacher once, who is very good at Tai Chi, so he has been called a Tai Chi master, and I asked him, well, why doesn't everyone learn Tai Chi if it's the best? Why do you learn anything else? And he says because it was a secret, and it was kept a secret for a long time. And even if you knew what to do and how to build it up, it still takes years of practice. Like, I think before you can literally be like in an MMA octagon ring using Tai Chi, it takes like 10 years. Before you're in a street fight, it takes like 2.5 years of just nonstop practice. In the meantime, you really can't do anything with it except for the health application, which is why, which is immediate and why it's normally used that way. But it is a martial arts. It was not primarily meant to be used for health. And the reason it makes itself so effective is it was developed by potentially Shaolin monks that have lived long lives. Now they're too old to do all the martial applications. They're just too weak. And so they had to make a new fighting style for older people. And so that's why Tai Chi is good for old people. And so everything about it, about keeping the relaxed mind, because if you're in a fight and you're old and you get angry or you get a tense mind, you could like have a heart attack or something. And like while you're really relaxed, you don't use a lot of muscles, because old people don't have a lot of muscles and they can't walk very far. And so Tai Chi doesn't do a lot of walking, and it's very minimal. Like everything in Tai Chi, like if you see a Tai Chi master in a fight, they won't do more than is absolutely necessary in both movement, distance of movement, their speed of movement. They're able to move very, very much slower than their opponent and still destroy them because of their timing. And you can develop your sense of timing. That doesn't go away with old age. Speed will go away with old age. So they work on, like what Tai Chi is known for, really slow exercises. And and you don't have to be that slow, but then what that develops is a slow, continuous mind that allows you to be more aware and perceptive of reality. If you have a relaxed mind in a fight, the hardest part of using Tai Chi in a fight that I've come across is that you have to stay relaxed. And that's not just like muscle relaxation, like you have to have a calm mind. And when someone pulls a gun on you or knife on you or surprises you, and you have that like shock thing going on, Tai Chi masters don't have the shock thing going on. They learn to train that out of their system. Because the energy flow, if you want to go into energetics, I guess I'll do a video on that later. If you want to go into energetics, energy flows through relaxation, so, or what we would consider relaxation because everyone's so tense. So if your mind tenses, well, you just dropped your energy. So like if you have like, you know, iron internal, what's called golden bell or iron body, internal iron body going on, and you tense up, it could go away if you're not really well trained, and then you get, you know, slammed from a surprise attack, and all that training that you did to have a superbly, you know, fit constitution is gone. Why? Because, you know, maybe not completely, but in Tai Chi, the devastating effects of Tai Chi require what's called a sung mind. Sung just means like a deep state of relaxation, and what that leads to is awareness. Now, here's the key, and this is how it gets into Rescape. This is why Tai Chi is the supreme ultimate, because it ties into the laws of the universe and the things I've been trying to tell you in this channel. That like you'll have like, sorry, I'm OCD about my hat. Okay, so if you if you have like fighting tournaments, like we have UFC Octagon, like they had similar things like that in China. And why was everyone so scared about Tai Chi? Like they did death matches, and no one would go up against a Tai Chi person because they realized they wouldn't come out, and or not come out well. And so you get like the Shaolin monks doing all their fancy movements and really fast movements and really strong, powerful movements, and then you get the Tai Chi guy being, you know, middle-aged or old or whatever, and he would literally, you know, he would go boop, and then like the Shaolin guy's and then the Tai Chi guy goes boop, and literally touches him, and then the Shaolin guy just drops to the ground, like either he's dead or he's like in writhing pain. It's like, and everyone's like, how the hell did they do that? And it was a secret, but that's what made Tai Chi so effective. They didn't have to do anything. Now here's the secret, not a secret of how to train it, but the secret of like, I can tell you basically how the Tai Chi guy did that, and he did that because he was calm and relaxed, and he trained his mind up to where it could be aware and sensitive to its surroundings to the extent where there's a sense we don't really develop. Like with hearing, you can be a very precise sound wave, and it hits our eardrums. Now our eardrums are very small, and the air hitting them with the sound is very small. But the way our hearing works is we've developed it our whole life. We know where it's coming from, the speed it's coming from, the tone, the resonance, the depth, if it's heavy, if it's air, if, you know, if it crackles, like all these hundreds, thousands, millions of different ways things can sound. And the same is true with feeling. Like we can feel like, you know, smooth and wet and like gritty and things like that, but you can feel into things. Like, and so like, this is something they train at my school. Like we do something called push hands, where you first you start listening to their heartbeat and then their digestion. And then you can tell if they've eaten recently, and then you can start feeling into things like their skeletal structure, where their muscle tension is, and take advantage of them that way martially. And then on higher levels, you start feeling into the energetic meridians, their mind intent, where they're feeling inside you, like where their mind is. And it goes more and more. Like I won't even go into all this stuff because people will think I'm crazy. But then you take the Tai Chi guy in the middle of that tournament fight, and he touches him. Well, the reason he can do that is because when he touches him, he's trained the sensitivity over how many decades to where he immediately knows every misalignment, every bone structure, every tension immediately in that guy's body, and he can use a very, very small amount of force. In Tai Chi, I think it's called 4 ounces moves 1,000 pounds. So he even though he doesn't use a lot of force, he just taps him. But he, with his sensitivity and his sensitivity of himself directing that force, he directs it exactly to the places that he needs it to go to drop that guy. And which is what you have to do in your ult if you don't have a lot of force. So you economize it very well. This is what makes Tai Chi, in my mind, so amazing. I've learned more about God through Tai Chi than the Bible, simply because the Bible is written by people, and then the principles of Tai Chi are founded and are tied with the fundamental laws of the universe, and which I believe, you know, God creates and maintains. And so if you take something, you know, like with the Taoism, like nature, you know, has the characteristics of God, because believe it or not, there was way more nature than people a long time ago. So So you think that would reflect more of a creator of reality? If if you believe in a creator, then there would maybe a skyscraper which is being created by a human being. So that would reflect the mind of a human being. But then you have nature, reflecting the mind of the creator of reality. And Tai Chi very much does that. Tai Chi is largely influenced by Taoistic principles, and that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that it's all about being relaxed and soft, like I told you about how God is very soft, and then the awareness, the I am awareness that comes from being relaxed and being able to be sensitive, and then using that to overwhelm your opponent in just a moment. So you may not believe this, but Tai Chi masters could do it to the extent where if someone would hit them, let's say you hit them with a fist, someone punches you, and they would, wherever that person punched them, they would sense into that person through their fist with their body, or maybe their shoulder or chest, or wherever that punch landed, and the side of their neck or something like that, and it hit their body, and then whatever they feel up into the fist, through the elbow, into the shoulder, into that person's body, and then they twitch in a certain way that directs the force of the punch back into them, or they have to receive the force of the punch and they send it back. It's sort of like, if you know anything about Tai Chi, like roll back and push and things like that, and yin and yang and give and take. Like, they take the force of it, but they don't hold on to it. They don't tense to the force. So it doesn't stay in them. The damage doesn't stay in them. They send it back. So, and then the Shaolin monks don't know how to do that. So they're good at hitting, but they're not good at receiving force and sending it back. So they receive the force and they keep it. So you see the advantage there for the Tai Chi guy. But there's so much more in Tai Chi. It's such an immense library of all sorts of different things. You can read the Tai Chi classics. They're largely esoteric to people that don't know the fundamental concepts, but once you know enough, you can kind of go with it and see what the rest of the stuff they're talking about. Sensitivity being the key thing. More than anything else right now, I'm developing sensitivity, and the reason is because it makes me a better fighter. I do martial arts, and my martial arts is primarily Tai Chi, because I realize that I can learn like physical martial arts, but when I'm old I won't use it, so I might as well learn things that I can use my whole life instead of just things I can use for the next 20 years. It just makes sense that the internal martial arts would be a better investment. And people are like, well, with the external martial arts, you can learn right away and be using it right away. And it's like, well, I don't need it right now. Like, I'm going to need Tai Chi later. I don't know if I'm going to need Tai Chi later or not, but I know I don't need it right now, so I might as well invest in something that'll be better later. So, but it's the sensitivity, because the more sensitive I get in feeling inside other people, there's the health benefits. And I haven't said this yet on the camera, but I'm an energy healer, so I can heal people by feeling what most people, if anyone has familiarity with this, the auric field, like if you see people's auras or something similar to that, where you change, if someone's injured, their aura changes, but if you change the aura, their injury will change. So it works both ways. And so this is like one of the pillars of traditional Chinese medicine that's not really used anymore. It went underground. The Chinese Communist government cracked down on it back in like 15 years ago. You can look that up. Falun Gong movement, I think it's called. But anyway, so there's that. The more sensitive you are, the better healer you are. The more sensitive you are, the better martial artist you are. And to the extent where you can do what seemingly supernatural things, people don't know how you're doing what you're doing. And then the sensitivity to the spirit, so you can like feel things more deeply. You listen to music and you taste food, and it's just so much more rich, and you can hear God that much better. And it's just like, so it's just, that's my thing right now. And you can always become more sensitive, and that's where the timing comes from. You can always have better timing, and you're going to get weaker as you get older, but your sensitivity will make up for the weakness, because your force will be better allocated, and you won't get fast, and you're going to get slower as you get older, but you can always get better timing, and your timing is going to make up for the fact you're slower. And so, and then the last thing I want to say about this, because it's gone on 13 minutes, but the reason Tai Chi is so effective isn't because it's physical sensitivity or its mental song or calmness. It's because on a spiritual level, the mental songness and the physical softness leads to a spirit that can manifest in the situation that you win, that you always win. So then the question, that's why Tai Chi is the best, because if someone really knows what they're doing in Tai Chi and has been training it a long time and has it up to the spirit level, their spirit will overcome this person's spirit that doesn't have Tai Chi. They'll become one with the other person's spirit, and then be able to redirect the situation and manifestation of the event. So I don't know if that makes sense, but basically basically it lines itself. It's a pyramid. The physical leads to the mental, leads to the spiritual, and the spiritual overcomes. So because it's not conflicting, that's the thing with the laws of the universe. Spirits don't conflict. Spirits come in every person you meet, even though you may seem like a victim or a perpetrator. Your spirits are in agreement to be there, and Tai Chi understands that, so it receives the situation, can alter it. So then the question becomes, well, what if you have two Tai Chi masters? How would they fight? And the answer is they don't. They don't. So anyway, that's Tai Chi. I hope that ties in with other things. Sensitivity, if the fundamental perception of reality that I keep hammering home is the sensitivity of Tai Chi and the sensitivity just in general of what I've been trying to say in this channel. That's what allows the development of your fundamental perception of reality into truth and what increases your potential as a human being. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. I hope someone watches this to the end. I know it's 15 minutes now, it's one of my longer videos, but this is really important. Like, Tai Chi is amazing. Like, don't settle for the slow motion movement meditation Tai Chi. Like, there's so much more out there. Like, if that's what you want, that's fine, but that's not what Tai Chi was meant to be solely. But anyway, my name's Steve. This is Rescape. This is week whatever. It'll say in the notes. But if you have any questions, post in the comments. I love Tai Chi. This is my passion. I love energy work. If you have any questions on those, I would love to talk to anybody about that. And so just let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video and have a good week. Thanks. Bye.